I have never turned on a fan base like I have turned on the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm not kidding. When I thought of the Chiefs, and their fan base in the past, I would think, oh, great Midwestern town, great sports fans, historical franchise, generational quarterback. Who doesn't love Andy Reid and those cheeseburgers? And then I turned because a couple weeks ago, we posted one of our videos, and it was me picking the Bills over the Chiefs. No big deal. And for 2 straight weeks, these babies, these adult babies, act like I was pushing their mom in the middle of a crosswalk or kicking their dogs. Like, it's unbelievable, the pettiness. Adult babies, a bunch of adult babies. So what? I got to pick wrong. I've heard so many times, Chelsa, oh, this aged well. So what? I miss picks all the time. We make picks on this show, multiple picks every day across multiple sports. So I picked the Bills 2 weeks ago. Congratulations to the Chiefs. They looked awesome. And these guys have no idea how to handle winning at all. Crybabies, absolute crybabies. Arrowhead Stadium is just a huge crib for a bunch of adult babies walking around in their Depends, telling everyone about how they overcame the odds because for the first time in years, they've been underdogs. I thought you guys were champions. I thought you guys knew how to carry yourself or yourselves. I thought you guys were building a dynasty. Instead, it is one petulant child after the other. And I hope the Niners drag them in the Super Bowl. I hope they get buried. I hope Brock Purdy throws for 8 touchdowns. I hope Christian McCaffrey rushes for 1,041 yards in the first quarter. And then when it's over, Chelsa, you mentioned Taylor Swift. I hope Travis Kelce, with a tear running down his eye, kneels in front of Taylor Swift and says, Taylor, will you marry me? And she says, Travie, I bet she calls him Travie. She says, get ready to take another L because the answer is no. I have an album to write and it's all about you. We're breaking up. That's how I want this to end. I am over Kansas City fans. Over them.
Okay, let me ask you a question. Do you think these people commenting on your video are an accurate representation of the actual fan base? Because yes. I think you could say this about every single team. If you say something negative about a team, somebody's going to come out of the woodwork and, stick up for their team. Because the internet is kind of like a funhouse. It is not an accurate depiction of, the people who are walking around every day. How many Chiefs fans do you know in person?
I know 3 here in D.C.
Do you hate them all?
No, they're great. They're good friends of mine, close friends of mine. But here's the thing. It's all relative, right? Look, internet commenters are going to be internet commenters. Trolls are going to be trolls. It happens all the time. I mean, all the time, right? It never ends. So that's not new. But I'm stunned at how many people 2 weeks later are so offended by just someone picking against them. Like, that's the thing. It's like, this is nothing. Like, congratulations. I was wrong. Like I said, I'm wrong all the time. You won the game. Like, the number of people who are still coming out of the woodwork for a simple pick against them 2 weeks ago, that's what I can't get past. I'm like, what are you guys doing? Like, you act like you just won a T-ball game for the first time. Like, you finally got your first ribbon when people said you couldn't do it. And you're like, see what we did? Babies. Absolute babies. Like, that's what gets me. I understand every fan base has those fans that don't fully represent everyone else, but I've never seen a fan base be so childish for no real reason when they're champions. Like, when you're a champion, if you're in the middle of a dynasty, I'd be like, dude, that guy got it wrong. Guess what? We're under the Super. You're getting ready to play in the Super Bowl. Why are you worried about what happened in a Bills game 2 weeks ago? That's what I don't get.
It's seeming really fishy that most of the money is on the Chiefs. And, people are looking at the best player on the planet and saying, okay, you don't bet against Patrick Mahomes, but yet the line is moving the other direction. So clearly there is some kind of money coming in on the Niners here. And I'm not saying that it's necessarily the right side. Right. I am just saying that we have seen this scenario play out before, and it hasn't played out in the public's favor.
I think that's what I keep coming back to. This is, for me, this is about the line right now and why it's not moving towards the Chiefs. Like, so when I see these statistics from BetMGM, overwhelmingly in Kansas City's favor, you would think that because of that all of a sudden the spread shortens, and it's not happening. So I understand why people are on the Chiefs. I completely get it. And we're going to hear the same statistics over and over and over about Patrick Mahomes as an underdog. How can you bet against this guy? How can you bet against this team? We've had to learn our lesson over the past couple of weeks. And all of those things are true. They're absolutely true. At the same time, we're seeing the Niners move the number. And when that happens, it's just from a pure numbers perspective, Chelsa, just forgetting about analyzing the actual game, I think we're on the same page here. It just seems a little fishy to me. I mentioned earlier in the week, are the Chiefs at some point, is this going to move to even money for both sides? Is this going to move to Chiefs -1? And no, it's not happening. So that, I think, more than any sort of game analysis, is what is making me a little skittish here.
What are the mid-major teams that should be on our radar?
So this is great. This is tremendous because there's one team that I've been talking about a lot, and I already have a 95-1 future on them to make the Final Four.
Ooh.
And it's Indiana State. It's Indiana State. When you look at the Sycamores out of the Missouri Valley, they are one of the best offenses in America. They're shooting over 60% from two-point land. They're shooting over 40% from three-point land. They're a great free throw shooting team. They're 79% as a team from the free throw line, and they're starting five. Everyone averages double digits, and everyone could shoot the three-pointer. And it's just one of those teams that, look, when you're trying to find some value in the Final Four market, you're trying to find the profile that matches a Florida Atlantic, that tries to match a Loyola Chicago back a couple of years ago when they made their run. And Indiana State kind of fits that team. They're an offense that just they run these plays and they space you out that certainly it makes things difficult to kind of double team any one of their guys. And when I see an 85-1, a 95-1, you think of a team that doesn't have any shot whatsoever. And I think Indiana State in the right bracket could go and make the Final Four. So I think it's the Indiana State Sycamores to make that run and to be that mid-major team that's going to surprise a lot of people.
Oh, man, I love that. Larry Bird's old school. How about that? So is there another mid-major team? I know that's your favorite, but another one that maybe you're not as sold on, but if things sort of come together in the right way based on some potential that you've seen, a flash that you've seen, you think this is another team that come tournament time, you might want to pay attention to?
Well, I mean, it's a team that you don't really watch a lot about, and you probably see their commercials because they're one of those schools that has their commercials on all the time, and it's Grand Canyon. I think Grand Canyon, when you look at them, they're 20-2 so far on the season. They're another team that has the right mix in terms of their roster. They have a lot of Power 5 transfers because Bryce Drew is a really good basketball coach. They get a lot of kids from Arizona State, it feels like, and you look at the Grand Canyon non-conference. They beat a San Francisco who's not bad. They beat a Liberty, who's not bad. They've beaten a couple of other teams. They were really close with South Carolina back on November 19th out of the SEC. But they're another team that has a really good offense, and their defense matches up really well too. And when you have a really good coach and you have a team that has players on their roster that are from the Power 5, and they're not going to be afraid of anybody. Now, look, Grand Canyon most likely is going to have to win the WAC, which I think they will. There's an outside chance they can get an at-large bid if maybe they don't lose another game until their championship game. But I think Grand Canyon's a team that you have to watch out for as a team that could win a game or two in the NCAA tournament.